And it wouldn't be French toast without a little bit of maple syrup. Head to head to head French toast showdown today. Recipes from Claire Saffitz, Babish, and Alton Brown. While each of these recipes is pretty similar in method, there's some slight variations and definitely some different ingredients between the three. So I'm gonna cook them one after the other, do a big roundup taste test at the end, and by the end of today, we're gonna find out who has the best French toast. Let's get going. Okay, so let me back up a little bit. What is French toast? French toast is some sort of bread dipped in some sort of custard and then pan fried and usually served sweet. Each of these recipes suggests a few different types of bread, but one common between them is challah, so that's what we're using today. And I've cut slices, toasted them off, and they're off to the side. All of the French toasts we're eating today are pretty similar in preparation. One of the differences, though, is that Claire Saffitz's recipe suggests that you leave the bread in the custard for like a solid 30 minutes. So we're gonna get that one going, set aside, and then work our way through Alton Brown's and Babish's, and then come back to Claire's at the end. So Claire's custard has a base of milk and cream, and then a couple eggs and a couple egg yolks, and we're just gonna add all of this into a large mixing bowl and get it whisked up. So in our bowl, couple egg yolks, couple eggs, cream, whole milk, pinch of salt, a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of cinnamon, give that a healthy stir. All right, in this pie tin, I'm going to put 3 1-inch slices of our bread. That's one of the differences in these recipes, is that Claire's recipe calls for an inch slice, Babish's calls for a thick slice, Alton Brown's calls for a 1/2 inch slice. So I've cut them at slightly different thicknesses. We'll see what that does to each of the recipes. So in go those 3, and then I'm just gonna soak the bread in the custard. We're gonna go for 15 minutes on the first side and flip it and do another 30 minutes on the second side, or until most of the custard is absorbed. So I'm gonna set this aside. Next up, Babish's French toast. Really similar custard. It only uses cream. And then we're actually gonna add some orange zest and some bourbon. Sounds delightful for a French toast. 2 egg yolks are gonna go in. Couple tablespoons of brown sugar, a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of nutmeg, leave my microplane out, and we're gonna zest an orange. So one of the differences in these recipes is the egg component of the custard. Claire Saffitz uses a couple eggs, couple yolks. Babish uses just yolks, and Alton's uses whole eggs. So we'll see what that does. Claire's is probably the most basic ingredient list, with the exception of the caramelization on the outside, which sounds pretty special. Babish's has a little bit of a orangey, bourbony flair, which I love. And then Alton's is actually coated in frosted flakes. So we'll see which one of those flavor profiles is the best. And last but not least, a splash of bourbon. Okay, whisk this up to combine. Grabbing another cake pan and our slices of toasted challah. So Babish calls for thick slices, so I did about the same size as the Claire Saffitz version, about 1 inch. So those are gonna go in their cake pan. And then over goes the custard, and we're gonna do a couple minutes on each side. Okay, here we are over at the stove, getting ready to cook off the Babish French toast. Putting a couple pats of butter in the bottom of a pan, cooking between medium and high, and I'm just gonna fry these 3 pieces of toast. I'm gonna give them a little bit of a flip in this custard. It says 20 to 30 seconds, so we're gonna get them right into the pan as soon as our butter melts. So butter is melted. So these cook for just a couple minutes aside until they're golden brown. Ooh, looks good. These are coming out and going into the oven to hang out while we finish the other two. We're already on to our third French toast. This is Alton Brown's recipe, and of course, as Alton Brown does, there's a little something special and extra on it, and that is we're gonna coat our dipped French toast in Frosted Flakes. So I'm gonna get some Frosted Flakes into a bag and crush them a little bit. That looks good. Right onto a plate for dredging, and then another custard. So milk and cream makes a great stand-in for half and half. Right into the bowl. A couple tablespoons of honey. A little bit of salt. And 2 whole eggs in this one. Now with our thin pieces of bread, so these are like 1/2 inch slices of bread versus the thicker pieces that we cooked for Claire's and Babish's. So we're gonna go 30 seconds aside in the custard mixture, 30 seconds or so aside, each of these. And then they're actually gonna rest on a wire rack before we coat them in the Frosted Flakes and cook them just for a couple of minutes. Okay, they've been resting for a couple minutes. So now we're just gonna coat them in Frosted Flakes. Over to the stove to cook. Same gig here. Melt a couple tablespoons of butter, medium heat, nonstick pan. Okay, butter is melted. So in with our French toast. Ooh, looks good. Couple more minutes on the second side. Altons are done. They look crispy. Yep. Don't want to go any further. Back in the oven. Now we set up for Claire. Okay, so Alton had cornflakes, Babish had bourbon and orange, and Claire has caramelized sugar. So we're to start with a couple tablespoons of butter over a medium-low heat. And then I have a couple tablespoons of sugar, and we're gonna caramelize this French toast in that sugar. So this one might take a little bit longer just because we're going a little bit slower. The French toast has been sitting for probably about 30 minutes, 15 on each side, and it's absorbed most of the custard, which is great. Okay, so now we sprinkle in about a tablespoon of sugar, and we gently place the French toast. And we're supposed to swirl around so the sugar gets picked up by the French toast. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay, so now we're to cook for a couple more minutes on this side, but also to sprinkle a little bit more sugar on top. Check it in. Yep, so now we go one more minute on the first side, and we are ready to taste test. And it wouldn't be French toast without a little bit of maple syrup. Okay, it's time to taste. I can't wait any longer. We have Babish, Alton Brown, Claire Saffitz. First up, Babish. Looks so good. Immediate orange and bourbon. I like it. It's really good. I love this flavor. It is absolutely awesome. This is an amazing French toast. Flavor is good, texture is good, sweetness is on point, a little bit of maple syrup was nice, and tasting the bourbon and the orange is awesome. We're off to a really strong start. Okay, next. This one's a little bit easier to get into. Nice and eggy. Let me show you. You can really see the cornflakes on this one and they taste delicious. A little bit of a crunch too. Very different texture with the Alton French toast. Crispy from the cornflakes, but the inside is still a little bit soft and moist. Neither are soggy, which is amazing. Neither has a really specific egg layer, which is amazing. They're both really good. Okay, last but not least, Claire's caramelized French toast. I'm actually chewing through the caramel. It's delicious. Oh, that is also a delicious French toast. I really love the caramel layer on that one. These are such great French toasts. I really didn't think it was gonna be difficult to pick a winner, but I think it kind of is. Okay, let's break it down. So for me, rating these guys comes down to 3 things: flavor, texture, and is this something that I would serve to my friends? So from a service perspective, all 3 of these would go on my table, no problem. Alton's is probably the most novel with the cornflakes on the outside. You can tell that it's crispy, crunchy, something interesting. The flavor probably wasn't as strong as Claire's or Babish's, and the texture was good, but nothing to write home about. Claire's, the flavor of the caramel, awesome. I really like that, and I'll definitely recreate that in the future. So flavor good, would absolutely serve this to friends. Pretty well balanced, even though you would expect it to be kind of sweet from the caramel. It's really not that sweet. So the texture is good, a little bit soft on the inside for me, which means that the winner of today's French Toast Showdown is Babish and his fancy French toast. Though Babish was victorious, there were absolutely no losers today. All 3 of these recipes are really solid and I enjoyed them all. I would encourage you to try them, and they are all linked in the description box below. So leave me a comment down below if you've tried any of these or if you have a favorite French toast recipe, and let me know if you liked this style of video comparing different chefs' dishes. I just love being a guinea pig, especially when it results in me having a lot of delicious food to taste. Thank you so much for being here. Please subscribe to the channel if you'd like to stick around, give this video a like, and I look forward to seeing you here next time. Cheers.